Hi guys, welcome to Homeschooling on Mama's Bed. My name is Gwinnell. This is my mom, Michelle. If you're new here, I'm homeschooling my second grade son, who is 7, and I'm also informally homeschooling my 4-year-old daughter at preschool. So today we are going to go over my curriculum picks for science. And actually, they're not mine, they're my mom's, because my mom is such an angel and she's going to be homeschooling my son science and also social studies. So today we're going to go over her incredible picks for science.
All right. I homeschooled my grandson last year for his first grade. I did science and social studies also. So I got an idea of what he likes, how he learns, and so forth. And what I did before was I tended to buy something on Teachers Pay Teachers. I would buy 2 or 3 or 4 units, combine them all because I didn't like them all. And so I'd rewrite half of it. And it was just a lot of work. And so I vowed I was not going to do that this year. And I didn't for science, at least.
Mostly.
For science, I didn't do it. I bought it completely. Social studies, yeah, we'll talk about that later. But the girl I found that sold a second grade science bundle, her name is Tara West at Little Minds at Work, and she's on Teachers Pay Teachers. She, like I said, she sold the second grade science bundle, which included 5 units for only $20.
That's really good.
That's amazing. And it's so, what's the word? Complete.
It's a very educationally dense. It's a very dense curriculum.
It is. So let me go into what it includes. It has, like I said, 5 units: properties of matter, exploring plant life, discovering habitats, earth systems, and space and weather. And she basically did the work for me, because what I would do is go on to the state's standards for public schools for the subject matters that they teach. They're so vague what they're required to do at the end, but it gave me an idea of the subjects that needed to be taught for each year. And she covered all the bases that works for my state, which I think they're general across the United States. Anyhow, so each unit includes lesson plans for 10 lessons in each unit. And so 10 lessons times 5 units, that's 50 lessons. And I teach him 3 times a week. And so that's about 17 weeks worth of instruction. And that, granted, that's only a half a year of science. And I guess I could supplement it with other things if I wanted to, but I'm good with 17 weeks.
It's honestly a great amount of time. I wish some curriculums were actually shorter so that you could do maybe even one half of the year and the other half. So if that's something that you're looking for, this is perfect.
And a lot of public schools I found will do half a year of science and half a year of social studies for the early grades. And so this basically covers it. And then she's got her social studies picks. But I'm actually doing them congruently because he likes to have science and social studies. He wants maximum time with grandma before I go teach my granddaughter.
It is seriously such a treat for him. He is like, Mom, are we done yet? Are we done yet? So I can go with grandma. Now we haven't started school with grandma yet. So he's been tolerating school with mom. But he's so looking forward to homeschool with grandma at grandma's table.
We don't do mama's bed. We do grandma's table. So these units also include lots of booklets, activities, tons of experiments, vocabulary cards, and then printable worksheets for them to report on their experiments, etc. And everything comes complete. All you have to do is print it out. I like to print on cardstock anything that we use as a game or a manipulative. Somehow, if he's touching it, it needs to be cardstock. And if it's not in his notebook. And let me show you what each notebook contains. Okay, the first unit, properties of matter, has these really cool pictures for the intros. And so I just made this the cover for him. It includes learning about matter, solids, liquids, and gases, a liquid to a solid, and a liquid to a gas. And in here, I've marked a couple of things I wanted to point out. What I did is at the beginning of each book, I have all the teachers' plans. I like them all in the book with the worksheets. And I don't know if you can see, but I have created this little system of highlighting lessons and experiments and activities and stuff. And so I've highlighted the page because otherwise it gets kind of overwhelming for me to read. I want to be able to look at this and say, oh, it's orange. Okay, what is orange? And then what is orange? Booklet. So I'll know what to prepare for that day. And then she does a lot of experiments, like I said. And I've highlighted whether it's an experiment or an activity. And these are activities. But for experiments, in this column here, she'll give you all the things you need to prepare, water, paper, whatever, to do the experiment. So that's really helpful. And then I've printed a page where this comes from her showing what manipulatives are available for this unit. And I just printed that to give me a reminder of how everything comes together and such. And then the second half of this book, I just put a cardstock in here and divided up into his science journal. And this is where we have all of his worksheets and his reports on the different experiments. Like here's a fun one. When he's learning about solids and liquid states. And then like I highlighted another one here. Oh, this is reporting on an experiment. And that looks like a fun one to do about gas. All right, and then what I did is, like I said, I printed everything on cardstock. I have them in these little bags with these little stickers that I made for each unit to separate them. And like the first lesson, is it matter? We're going to learn what matter really is. And it comes with all these cards. And so he goes through them. It comes with more cards than this, but these are a few examples. And so we determine what is matter. And then the next game is liquid, solid, and gas. So we introduce these principles to him. And on the back of these, I've got an example of each one. I will put what it is, so my own cheat sheet, just in case for some reason that day I couldn't figure it out myself. And so we got solid, liquid, and gas examples. And then it has a cute little matching game. You lay them on the table in a grid pattern, face down, and they have to match the two. And then each lesson comes with vocabulary cards. We don't need to open these. There's just all the vocabulary that it's going to go through for that entire unit. I said lesson, but I meant the whole unit. And then she has so many cute little books, and I just bound them and just made it easier for us. And I printed them in half booklets. And like this one's Matter Changes, and Gwinnell will spin through it there and show us a couple pages. And the lesson will tell you, some of them are short, and so we read the whole thing that day. And other ones I'll show you later on. They're bigger, and so she says, these pages, go for this lesson. And then this is for what is matter. So she's got everything ready to be printed and cut and separated and put in the groups. And it's all done for me. Well, not all the physical work of separating it and organizing it, but I don't have to write it. Everything's there. The ideas are all there.
And that's phenomenal because she is so creative. She does so many amazing things with graphic design. The fact that she did not feel the need to edit things and really make it her own, that says a lot about this curriculum. So I really hope you guys, just as you watch all the things that she's doing, I really hope you guys do give this curriculum a look.
Yeah, she's got it available for kindergarten, first, and second. I looked at the kindergarten version and I didn't like it as much. And my daughter who had bought it for her son, she didn't like it as much either.
That's not me, by the way.
No, that's Nicole, my other daughter. But she does a really good job in second grade science. And so this, I guess because the mentality, age level of the child, she can get into more details and such, where she can't touch on all those things in kindergarten. So second grade science, I definitely can recommend it. Even though I haven't done it with my grandson yet, I have prepared it and it looks amazing. Okay, the next unit is Exploring Plant Life. It's really cool cover for it. And in this one, it includes plant needs, plant habitats, parts of a plant, photosynthesis, pollination, and dispersal of seeds. So let's go over a couple of the insides of this unit. Again, for the 10 lessons, I have my key here, and I've highlighted what's going to go on that day so that I can have a better awareness of what to prepare as I'm preparing for the lesson, and then as I'm teaching, remind me where I'm at. And then we've got a bunch of fun activities during this unit. We've got a mobile we're making. We're learning about the seed parts, the seed dispersal. Oh, and there's some fun plant experiments. What does a plant need to survive? And I mean, that would be obvious to an adult, but to a kid, that's a new thing to learn.
Yeah.
Here's a couple more pictures in his workbook of this is the plant needs. And so the red line shows what we're going to deprive the plant of in each of the 5 cases. And then he keeps notes analyzing what happened in the experiment. One final thing in this unit, he gets to learn the different parts of a plant. And so in his workbook, he has to be able to identify what he has learned. Okay, digging deeper into this unit, we have all kinds of fun activities. This is plant needs, little cards and stuff, and plant habitats. And then we have the seed dispersal game that we're playing, seed cards, and then the different vocabulary. We don't need to take these out, but that's for the whole unit. And then a couple books we're going to be reading out of. Exploring Plants, and we'll do this for 2 lessons. And I'm the one who put these up here so I'd know which lessons it was for. Helps me be more organized. And then Plant Life, little cute little book. And that's it for Unit 2. Okay, for our 3rd unit, we have Discovering Habitats. This is a really fun one. And it talks about ecosystems and the following biomes: desert, aquatic, forest, grassland, and tundra. This is really good because it ties in with what we're learning in social studies about some of the biomes. So he'll have it introduced to him so he knows what's coming up. So we have in his book, he's going to learn to identify in the United States where the different biomes are located. And then as I was printing these, I had my grandson's help on choosing the colors he wanted. We were out of purple, so we couldn't do that. So each biome has a different color. This is the desert biome. This is the aquatic biome. The green is the forest biome. Pink is grasslands biome. And the tan is tundra. That's the notebook that we have. And then we have all of the little manipulatives. These are the cute labels I made for them. So these are the posters and stuff that we show. And then these are the little manipulatives in the bag.
Can I just say, can you pay attention to the fact this is not on accident? This is orange and this is orange. How cute is that? They match. Just had to say that.
Well, yeah, I like to do that. Anyway, and again, I'll put a plug in. I made these labels. I have labels for all of the different social studies units and science. And anyhow, it brings me joy. So, and then we have a fun game. These are clues, think of me as a hot, dry place, a desert, obviously. And he's got a bunch of clues. He's got to figure out which biome we're talking about. That's a fun little game. Then we have the vocabulary cards where we learn about the ecosystems and the different biomes. And then these are some posters we have. Here's one about the biomes. And then we've got meso ecosystems, so the larger, and then micro ecosystems. So fun different things for him to learn about in this unit. Oh, I forgot the fun little books. Yeah. He's got a book on ecosystems. And then this is the book I was talking about previously that it's got a section for each one of the 5 biomes that they're covering. So the lesson will say, do these pages, as we're talking about the different biomes. So but I love it. She's got such colorful pictures in here for kids. And there's a nice desert picture with snakes. And anyhow, but so many fun things and really appealing to kids. So I'm excited to use this unit, this bundle that she's created. Okay, for Unit 4, we have Earth systems. That's a really cool picture. I love this one. It includes Earth's water cycle, rapid versus slow Earth changes, and erosion from water, wind, and glacial. First of all, I have to show this cool little poster that I made. Unfortunately, she didn't have anything like this. I even went back to her kindergarten version that my daughter had purchased, and there was no water cycle, so I had to make my own. Anyhow, so we're going to be talking about this, and then we'll move into the booklet where I did 2 versions. Tried to get Chat GPT to draw a picture, but that's like pulling teeth. So this looks kind of dumb, but that's what it did for me. And so I said, well, all right, well, if that's the best it can do in black and white, we're just going to keep it in the color version. So in this one, he cuts out the name of each part of the cycle, and he has to glue it in there. And then a really fun part of this is the erosion section. So the wind, water, and glacial erosion. And then things that humans have done to mitigate the erosion. A dike, and we talk about dikes, how they hold water back, and windbreaks. So many fun things. And it's only a second grade level, but it's pretty inclusive, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move into the manipulatives. And so our lovely Gwinnell is going to model some of the forms that Earth provides water. Here's a swamp. That's a glacier. That's the ocean. And then we've got a lake and mountain glaciers and sky, because hello, comes from the clouds. So and another glacier. Anyhow, so we get to learn about all the different forms that water comes to us and how it goes through the cycle. And then, of course, lest we forget, we've got our vocabulary words for the unit. And we've got some lovely books modeled by our even lovelier Gwinnell, one on erosion and one on earth changes. Looks like a really fun unit 4. So now for our final unit, space and weather. How exciting.
Woo-hoo!
This is a really cool picture, by the way. This unit covers weather, clouds, weather patterns, earth positions, change of seasons, sun, including the sun's movement, heat and light energy, and the moon phases. Really cool stuff. All right, let's dig into the notebook here. What do we got? This is kind of scary, actually. They give us a cloud paint recipe, which includes shaving cream and bottles of school glue. What can you get up to with those 2 ingredients? Anyhow, I guess we're going to paint us some gnarly clouds. But I mean, who doesn't love a good experiment or
It's going to be fun.
craft? Okay, and then notice the cool labels and the color, dark blue, space and weather. All right, we have our vocabulary cards for the unit. And then we have some cool cloud formations. And if anybody knows my husband, he's a pilot. He is always into clouds because that's how you determine whether you can safely fly or not.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the cumulus clouds, and then there's that fun hint that goes with it, right?
Yeah, clue.
Okay, so the clue says, I am fluffy like a cloud. I look like soft white cotton balls floating in the sky. I'm normally a sign of fair weather. What am I? And so then you get to pick this one right here. And just a second example, this would go with the cirrus cloud. The clue would be, I'm very high in the sky. It is cold way up here, so I am made of ice. I look wispy like a feather. I am a sign of fair weather. Who am I? And so then he would just pick the cirrus cloud.
And just a note about my grandson, he has his own pilot logbook where he logs the hours because he actually goes and helps his grandpa fly the plane.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he can identify all the cloud formations already. And so this is going to be really fun for him to be able to focus on it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Next, we have our moon phases. This is really cool. And Vanna White is going to show us some examples. Waxing crescent in the last quarter, and a full moon.
There we go.
And then in his workbook, he gets to draw what the different phases look like. Anyhow, it looks like a really cool unit. And let's not forget our cool books with all the cool pictures of weather.
Let's open that a little bit. You want me to flip
Yeah.
through?
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's the change of the seasons.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
And then what else do we have? Oh, look from space. Yeah.
This is a little
Very
bit
cool.
tricky to flip through, but another one. It'll be probably our last
So
one.
many cool pictures he's put in here to capture the kids' attention. I love this picture. Patterns in space.
That's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing much space yet. Ooh, here we go.
Oh, the
Here's
moon phases. There we go. And
Ooh, man on the
not
moon.
complete without the man on the moon. So this looks like a really exciting bundle that I got of 5 units. And I think my grandson's going to really love it.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm going to have fun teaching it, especially when we get to the cloud glue.
Yeah.
With the shaving cream and the school glue.
Yeah.
Oh, at least they don't have the old paste like we had to use in school.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Maybe you guys did. I don't know.
No, yeah, I definitely remember having that.
I remember kids sniffing the paste and tasting it. Yeah. Anyway, so that is our wrap up here of our exciting curriculum for science for the year. And maybe we'll let you know at the end of the year how it went.
Yeah.
If the clouds survived intact. So there we go.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Homeschooling on Mama's Bed. It has been so fun having my mom on here. We'll bring her back for social studies, and then we'll absolutely have more check-ins on how this curriculum is going. Maybe things she might do a little bit. She might recommend you do a little bit differently. Things that were 5-star, that was the best thing ever. Don't do anything different, kind of thing. So thanks guys for tuning in, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.